The LA Clippers are 0-4. The LA Strippers are 0-4. So many things to talk about. It's definitely the hottest topic on the block because it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Too much star power on one team to be going 0-4. Let's get it. Oh my gosh, shout out to Gengar for the 2 gifted. Shout out to Gengar for the 2 gifted. Shout out to Who's Cryo for the first time chat as well. Gengar, we gotta run Valorant soon, man. It's been a minute since I played Valorant, man. But yeah, and we evened it out at 40 subs. I appreciate that. But yeah, too much talent to be going 0-4. Too much hype for this Clippers team when they initially formed to be playing this bad. And it's definitely upsetting because of the fact that, number one, the Clippers were actually playing well before they traded for James Harden. Number two, the 76ers, the team that Harden did not want to play for, is actually having arguably the best start in the Embiid era. I would say it is the best start in the Embiid era. Their lead guard is actually going the fuck off because of the fact that James Harden left. And again, the Clippers are 0-4. All right. So we're going to be watching this video by Specs Media. Shout out to Specs Media. For those who don't know, I consulted with Specs Media about, I think it's been over a year ago at this point. He was my first social package / creators create consultee. And I'm glad of the growth that I've seen on his YouTube channel ever since then. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely taken my advice to heart. And it has showed wonders, man. I ain't gonna lie. Shout out to Specs, bro. Shout out to Specs. Been loving the content. Let's go ahead and watch this James Harden video that he got.
The Clippers have a James Harden problem. Gentlemen, I've noticed that something that I predicted was going to happen has once again come to fruition. Now, I've always been a big believer on you shouldn't judge a team until like game 20. I feel like that's when every team is kind of in their element and they're on a roll, especially when that team made a franchise-altering trade trying to basically build a super team. Like, there's gonna be an adjustment period. I expect that for just about any team that makes a big trade like that. But I draw the line where that player you traded for has been a shell of his former self. The team you just lost to was 1-8. They had 1 win and you lost to them. They outclassed you the entire game. And I also draw the line when the team you were previously on is thriving better than ever without you. It almost makes
also one of the other factors that make this so bad is how the Clippers have been losing. It's how the Clippers have been losing. It'd be fine if they kept on losing to, you know, the Nuggets, the Celtics, the Bucks, like really good teams. And I'll say this too. I've turned around on the Mavs train. I think they are genuinely a good team. But they are still not good enough to be blowing y'all out by like 50 points. You know what I'm saying? Like, Luka should not be looking like your daddy out there. Dead ass. We watched that game on playback. It was embarrassing how the Clippers were playing. It was embarrassing how Luka was dogging y'all. Embarrassing. And I understand Luka is him, but too much talent is on this team to be getting cooked like that, dog. I ain't gonna lie. And then the very next game, for y'all to play one of the worst teams in the league without their star player in John Morant, and to lose in that fashion, that was embarrassing. Embarrassing. So not only are y'all getting cooked by some of the best teams in the league, y'all getting cooked by the bottom feeders.
BSOLZ, I'm down for Val whenever. Also, we got a taco, man. Shit's gas.
That shit is gas, man. I'm gonna need to start rewatching. I ain't gonna lie. But let's get back to the video. 10 away from that DJ controller though. Yo, y'all look great, man. Y'all look great.
Makes you think maybe James Harden was the problem. Now I know there is a group of people that are going to have a similar opinion to one of my best friends named 2for1, where he basically said, like, guys, you know, it's only been a couple games. We can't judge them just yet. I mean, remember when they got Westbrook? They weren't winning to start off, and they started to do pretty well towards the end of the season. And Quan, with all the love in my heart, with all
2for1's in the chat. Hey, 2for1's in the chat, man.
Due respect, please shut the fuck up. First off, these situations.
Oh shit, you gonna take that, gang? Oh fuck. Oh, do we got sausage? Okay. I forgot about that soundboard, man. Do we got sausage? Hold on. Let me bring that back. Let me bring that back.
My best friend's name 2 for 1, where he basically said, like, guys, you know, it's only been a couple games, we can't judge them just yet. I mean, remember when they got Westbrook, they weren't winning to start off, and they started to do pretty well towards the end of the season. And Quan, with all the love in my heart, with all due respect, please shut the fuck up. First off, these situations are not a one-to-one example. The James Harden trade was for a lot of assets and players that the Clippers are desperately going to miss. Westbrook cleared waiver wires, was a free agent, and decided to sign with the Clippers. It was a low risk, high reward situation that so far has definitely panned out. So no, I don't think we can use these 2 examples and try to compare them and say, guys, let's be optimistic about this. Harden on the Clippers, he's gonna be fine. But I'm sorry, you are not going to succeed with 4 ball dominant players, especially 4 ball dominant players that about half of them are out of their prime. And that's me being generous. You can make an argument that the other 2 are out of their prime. I'll let you figure out who I'm talking about. Now, I know there are gonna be some Harden fans saying, oh, you can't possibly be trying to blame Harden for everything. And to that I say, no, I'm not trying to blame Harden for everything. I am trying to blame Harden for just about everything that's going on right now. First of all, this was Harden's choice to come to the Clippers. This was the team he wanted to go to. Why the fuck did he think joining a team where there would be 4 ball dominant players all trying to score the ball at the same time would work out? Like that's not gonna work out, man. Unless James Harden thought that they were gonna convert Russell Westbrook and Paul George into like 3-point shooters or spot up shooters, then I don't know how he thought this was gonna pan out. But I mean, he is the system.
I think this is the detriment, and this says something about who Harden is as a player, specifically after the Thunder. He has been on situations where they're built around him. You know what I'm saying? Like these are systems that's built around James Harden being an extremely ball dominant player. And I personally feel like this is actually the first time in his career, arguably the second, because last time with Joel Embiid, you know, Embiid had the ball a lot, where he has to make a huge adjustment for this shit to work. You know what I'm saying? This is the first time in his career where it is clear-cut, point-blank, where there's not only 1, but 2 players on the team that are better than you. I don't know what to tell you. This is not going to be James Harden's team. And this was my problem with Russell Westbrook when he joined the Lakers. Yo, bro, you're joining LeBron James and Anthony Davis. This is their squad. And we're talking about LeBron James and Anthony Davis changing their game to fit your play style. That seems backward as fuck. But in actuality, that is actually the solution, because you're the one who has trouble adjusting to other players, which I feel like is a detriment to your game. It says a lot about your game. You know what I'm saying? I'll get into my solutions closer to the end of this video and what I truly think about this whole situation. But
I'm not a system player. I am a system.
Guys, I am not bullshitting when I say I looked for 20 minutes to find evidence this was fake or AI or deepfake, and no, this is 100% real. This man is fucking delusional. I am the system. All right, Gorlock the Destroyer, calm the fuck down, man. We're talking about the system of a basketball team, not the fucking strip club. Now, what sucks about this entire situation is that I actually liked Harden in Philly for the first half of his time there. I thought him and Joel Embiid would not have been a terrible duo. I didn't think they were gonna win their first year, but does any real duo actually do that, like, as soon as they come together? Plus, it was like a mid-season trade. But you can't tell me the idea of having James Harden converted into a great playmaker and someone that can score when you need him to, that's not a terrible idea. It's like you take the worst thing about Harden and you make it good, and then you take the best thing about Harden and you tone it down just a little bit. The crazy thing is, Harden didn't need to average 30 points per game in Philly. He could have been a guy that got you 20 and 10, and it would have led to the success of the Sixers. It's not Harden's fault that Joel Embiid is a consistent playoff choker. It's also not Harden's fault that they didn't realize that Tyrese Maxey is a better version of him. At least he will be in the future. But it is Harden's fault that for the millionth time in like a 2-year span, this man is once again leaving his team to go somewhere else. Now, I know what you're saying, Specs. How bad can Clippers Harden be? I mean, like, it's still James Harden. He's gonna produce something, right? I mean, yeah, 13.5 points per game while shooting about 47% from the field. That's definitely something. Now, there's a part of me that wants to give him the benefit of the doubt because it has been 4 games. Like, if you guys don't know. He hasn't played a single game this year until he got to the Clippers. But on the other hand, I also can't look at clips like this and say, damn, this man looks stiff as hell. He doesn't look the same. Like, I know what most people are probably gonna look at as like, oh, he did the thing with his feet, or oh, he airballed a shot, and cool, that's funny. I'm gonna make fun of it. But the fact that Harden looks like this and he just doesn't look like someone that is actually good at dribbling the basketball, it kind of concerns me. I mean, I've seen multiple examples of Harden dribbling the ball and he just looks completely stiff. Mans looks like me at the YMCA trying to put up a cool 25 and 10, but I put up a solid 3, 6 and 2. That's 3 points, 6 personal fouls, and 2 airballed threes. Gotta say, I had quite the night. But all jokes aside, this is not the Harden that the Clippers thought they were going to get. Now, in my videos, I usually have a silver lining, and I do think there is a silver lining, but it's gonna take James Harden kind of putting his ego aside. I do think, in a twisted, weird way, there's a possibility that this James Harden trade actually works out. There's a possibility that the Clippers can take this 4-game losing streak and turn it into a winning streak. And the best way I can explain this is if I were personally the head coach of the Los Angeles Clippers.
All right, I'm gonna say my piece right here before it becomes an echo chamber. All right, because I feel like I know exactly where it's going with it. This is my solution. And first, Jesus Christ. First, let's identify the problems. All right, before we think about the solutions, let's identify the problems with this team. Number one, like Spec said, I think there's way too many, at least in that starting lineup, way too many players that need the ball in their hands to be effective. Talk about Paul George, we're talking about Kawhi Leonard, we're talking about James Harden, we're talking about Russell Westbrook. Right? I'm gonna be honest. I more so have a problem with Russell Westbrook and James Harden specifically within that 4 because I've seen Paul George and Kawhi play off ball, but I still feel like delegating Paul George and Kawhi Leonard to be a Kevin Love, PJ Tucker role is still also not, you know what I'm saying, the best solution. They need the ball in their hands for them to be at their best at the end of the day. So that's number one. Number 2, Kawhi Leonard. Number 2, Kawhi Leonard. I ain't gonna lie. So much over these last couple of days have been about James Harden, have been about the fit, the coaching, this, that, and the third. I ain't gonna lie. Kawhi does not get enough smoke. For a player that we try to keep on inserting in these top 5 in the world conversations as much as we do, every single year, top 5 when healthy, this, that, and the third. We got to hold him to those standards. Because I genuinely feel like even when we have those conversations, it's not the most astronomically wrong thing in the world. I think he deserves to be in those conversations. But with that being said, when you look at the players in that top 5, when we talk about Jokic, when we talk about Giannis, when we talk about LeBron, when we talk about this, that, and the third, if/when they were put in these situations and they were on a slump like this, a lot of the blame was not put on other players. A lot of that blame was put on the stars. All right? And when we look at Kawhi Leonard over these last 4 games, mind you, again, top 5 player conversation, and rightfully so, 19 points a game, a rounded up 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Okay, turnovers are low. 46, 30, 92 splits. These aren't above, these aren't crazy shooting splits. This isn't 2014 final shooting splits. And for a top 5 player, to be putting up 19, 5, and 3, we gotta put him, we gotta hold him to the fire just a little bit more. Just a little bit fucking more, dog. So that's 2. I think the fit of that starting lineup is just sus as fuck. And Kawhi Leonard needs to step it up. Also, James Harden, a part of this is your fault. I ain't gonna lie. A big part of this is your fault. The reason why you're rusty, and I understand it's just rust and you need time to shake it off, but you see the effects of you being rusty and how it's affecting the team. And the reason why you're rusty is because of the fact that they don't want to go to training camp. You know what I'm saying? You wanted to hold off. You wanted to force your way out of Philly. And now you're going into a different situation that did not have time in training camp to properly train and get the rotations in piece and, gel and mesh together. They stuck you in onto this team 4 games into the season, and now this is just what we're stuck with. This is just what we're stuck with. We're trying to make this work. We're trying to, mesh together 4 games into the season. And until we give this team enough time, which I feel like they will have enough time, there's gonna be a big adjustment period. There's gonna be an adjustment period. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Ultimately, I do still think there's enough time to turn this around. This is not panic mode just yet. Definitely not bad signs. Definitely not things that you want to see. When you make a big acquisition like this and your standards go up. But yeah, this is just the case. And for me, the solution is for Ty Lue to, I ain't gonna lie, put your big boy pants on and go to James Harden or go to Russell Westbrook and put one of them on the bench. I'm sorry to tell you. Also defensively, they're just not big enough as well. Kawhi Leonard is a great defender, but your point guard being 6'4", James Harden being 6'5", Paul George is cool. Kawhi is what, 6'8", 6'9", and then Zubac being out there. I don't think they're big enough personally. And defensively, even though on paper they should be better because of the personnel that they got, is definitely not translating well. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think the rotations would be so much more better and the fit would be so much more better if one of James Harden or Russell Westbrook came off the bench. I would personally put James Harden in that role. I understand James Harden is the better player right now, but I'm going to be honest, Russell Westbrook has proved that he's, you know what I'm saying, he's been able to make it work with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard on the court. Russ is still going Russ. I'm not saying Russ is a perfect player, but they were looking pretty good before that James Harden trade. I ain't going to lie. With Russ at the helm. So, that's what I got. That's what I got right there. And Cardiac's going crazy in the chat. But I'm going to read what you're saying as the video plays.
Best way I would describe this is I think Kawhi Leonard and Paul George would basically be doing the same thing they're doing right now. It seems like Paul George hasn't really been affected by James Harden.
Also, make your own goddamn video. What the fuck? NBA YouTuber? Yeah. Yeah, you trying to go on this Eli training arc. Bro, make the damn videos. God. This guy.
Harden, which is good because he is the #1 option on this team. I know some people want to say Kawhi, and when Kawhi is on, he's on, but honestly, I think this is Paul George's team. Debate a fucking wall. I think Kawhi as a second option is not terrible. In fact, I think he's a great second option. There's also going to be those nights where Paul George is off, or maybe the whole offense is off, but Kawhi is just on, and that's a great guy to fall back on. Plus, I can't ignore the fact that even though he's getting up there in age and he's had a lot of injuries, this man is still a pretty good defender. But the real question of the offense is what happens to James Harden and Russell Westbrook. I know Harden and Westbrook are not the best when it comes to, not turning over the ball. But from what I've seen, I feel like Harden is a lot more careless with the ball. He's a lot more sluggish, and he just doesn't look like he's playing like a good point guard. Now, on the actual depth chart itself, Russell Westbrook is technically already listed as the point guard, but it's James Harden. He's going to try to be ball dominant. He's going to want to control the offense because, of course, he's the system. But I made a comment earlier where I said, I guess James Harden wants to see Paul George and all these guys be converted into spot-up shooters. I think the best case scenario for Harden is him being a spot-up shooter. That is the only value he might have. I think Harden's value is completely depleted as a player. And no, I don't think there's a situation where a team with 4 ball-dominant players that are ISO heavy is just not going to work out on the offensive side. I think
also James Harden is in a situation that I believe is one of the worst for his player types. And I've said this about players like Allen Iverson and even Russell Westbrook. Specifically when he was in LA. He is in a situation right now where as a player who needs the ball in his hands to be effective, and I would even argue is a worse off-ball player than Russell Westbrook. He's in a situation where, I'm gonna be honest with you, you're just not gonna get the ball that much, bro. I'm sorry. Like, the offense would have to move around so much to cater around you that I don't even think it'd be beneficial. You know what I'm saying? However, to best utilize you, we're gonna have to put the ball in your hands. And I just don't think that'll happen. I don't think Paul George and Kawhi Leonard will let that happen for James Harden to be the engine of that offense. I would be surprised, but you know, that's just how I feel about it.
Movement. You need to run plays. I mean, look at the Phoenix Suns. They're a fucking joke right now. And this is coming from a Suns fan, so don't think I'm just being a hater and I'm saying it like everyone else. No, I'm pissed off at the way they're playing. But trust me, that's a video in itself. It's coming soon, guys. Believe me. Oh, and the defensive side of this team, oh my God, don't even get me fucking started. Now, there is an alternative option for the Clippers, and it's really risky, and it takes someone to kind of put their ego aside. But I think one of them should become the sixth man. I don't see a situation where all four of these players can be on the same court and just dominate together. I don't think that's possible. Maybe in a late game situation, but even then, like, I just don't think it makes sense to have these guys on the court at the same time. If either Westbrook or Harden came down to the sixth man, preferably Harden, I think then maybe we'd start to see some team success. I also think it's important to note the fact that in that Grizzlies game, when Harden was on the court, he had a plus minus of -28. And if you watch the game,
yeah, that was crazy too. I watched this game. Yo, I think the Grizzlies were up by like 15 or some shit. James Harden comes out the game. Clippers start coming back. Shout out to Norman Powell, by the way. Shout out to Norman Powell, big part of that run. Yeah, Clippers start coming back. They reinsert James Harden back into the lineup, into the game, and shit just starts slowing down. That was crazy. I ain't gonna lie, but.
you could tell when Harden came into the game, they started to struggle. When he left, they became like a positive team. And I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. All this has taught me this entire Clipper situation that Memphis.
Also, Marcus Smart had a crazy assist this game. I don't know if y'all saw that. He like split the defense, lost control of the ball, dove, tip pass to his right for the dunk. That shit was crazy.
Grizzlies game, it taught me one thing. Harden is a net negative to your franchise. Do not have this man join your team. Wait, Specs, why would you say that? I mean, yeah, I know it's been obvious and we've all been saying it for like a whole plus 2 years, but why would you say this now? Well, probably because the fact that Tyrese Maxey literally just dropped 50 fucking points as soon as Harden left. I mean, is it crazy for me to say that Harden was low-key holding back Tyrese Maxey? Hey, I know Harden FC is gonna get mad at me, but Tyrese Maxey might be better than Harden, and it's not even close right now. Now, I think there's only really one thing I can do to explain this entire James Harden situation. I think we only need one picture, well, a chart specifically. Gentlemen, please direct your attention to the screen which you're watching this video on, and if you're not looking at the screen, then why are you still—
I don't know, I ain't gonna lie, I think that Philly situation, I understand they're looking better without James Harden, but the improvements that they've made to pin that all on just James Harden not being there, I'm going to be honest, I think that's personally unfair to James Harden. Number one, Tyrese just improved, period, point blank, independent of James Harden. Number two, yes, James Harden not being there does allow Tyrese to have the ball more in his hands, but to just say James Harden was holding them back, I think that's a little extreme. Number three, they made some offseason acquisitions that, in my opinion, have been really big for them, particularly Kelly Oubre. Shout out to Kelly Oubre, by the way. Hope you get better. And also a new coach. I ain't gonna lie. New coach. They are just moving differently. The ball is moving with Nick Nurse at the helm. It's not stagnant offense. And I just find that whole narrative that it's all on James Harden's fault is crazy, because I remember the conversations we were having when Philly got eliminated and how much smoke we were giving Doc Rivers. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, Specs.
Watching, bro. Get off TikTok. Because people like to call me Jimmy High Roller, here is a chart on the screen.
He does sound like Jimmy High Roller.
right here. This chart is the fuck around and find out chart. Basically, depending on how much you fuck around, it will depend on how much you're gonna find out. And the Clippers decided to fuck around trading a bunch of assets for James Harden, someone who is clearly on the decline of his career. I'd say this is about a level 9, maybe level 10. And right now, they are finding out that this was a terrible idea. So in conclusion, James Harden is the worst thing in the NBA right now. Also, Quan, I'm sorry I told you to shut the fuck up. Nah, I'm just kidding. Fuck you, you old prick.
Oh shit. Oh shit, he want smoke. I ain't gonna lie. Oh shit, he want smoke. Yeah, I think ultimately, listen, not time to hit the panic button just yet. Definitely on the way. There's definitely some big changes that this team needs to fucking make for this shit to work. But ultimately, it's only 10 games into the season. And I understand we can only say that for so long. But we're only 10 games into the season. We are only 4 games into this trade. And there's adjustments that can definitely be made. Already, even if this happened in the offseason, I was already expecting there to be an adjustment period point blank. But for this shit to happen again, 4 games into the season, yeah, no, it's gonna be a big change. I don't know what to tell you.
You gotta play that Brian Damaris clip. He went in on Harden.
Was that the thing from the Young Mustard from Young Mustard's Twitter? Because that shit was crazy. But yeah, if I were to make a solution again, just put James Harden on the bench. Let Russ rock out with the starting lineup. Or if you want to put Russ on the bench, that's fine with me. I just think having both of them in the starting lineup at this point in their careers is redundant as fuck, especially with Paul George and Kawhi there. I think they also need to get better bigs. They need a better big rotation. Their defense and rim protection is relying way too much on Zubac right now.